My name is Rhapsody, and welcome back to Hearthstone Arena. We have absolutely no requests currently pending, so we're just gonna go right into the arena and play the video game, because why not, right? That's what I like to do, play video games, so I'm gonna play the video game. We're gonna see how well we can go with... I've played Rogue recently, played Warrior recently as well. We've done a Warlock recently that was actually okay, so it was fine. Now, Arcane Golem, charge is good. 4 mana, 4 damage, 3 mana. Give your opponent a a mana crystal. So unless you use this basically at the very end of the game, you can basically, kiss your ass goodbye. You've given your opponent basically a free wild growth. No card on their part. It's too good for your opponent. The downside of the Arcane Golem is way too much. Sun Fury Protector, give adjacent minions taunt. Taunt is very most often not worthwhile. Knife Juggler, pretty obvious choice here. Also, it's important to note that a 2-3 is less valuable than a 3-2. Because a 3-2 can, by default, kill anything with 3 health, whereas a 2-3 needs a buff to be able to do that. Look, a buff card. Shattered Sun Cleric fits the 3 slot, and the 3 slot is really hard to fill. You've got, like, Harvest Golem, Shattered Sun Cleric, some class cards, so that depends on the class, obviously. Jungle Panther. You haven't got really that many good 3-drops, so when you can pick up a good 3-drop, it's way higher priority than most other things. These have enter the battlefield damage effects. Can be good. Not as good as a solid 3. Cult Master is the ability to draw cards when I trade off cards, so that's amazing. Void Caller or Harvest Golem. Now, I was just speaking about 4 seconds ago. If you'll follow me down the path of memory. Let's just rewind. Harvest Golem, really good 3-drop. But it's early enough in the draft that I can kind of rely on getting either another Void Caller or another Demon. So as soon as you have another Demon, just almost any Demon, as long as it's not like Void Walker or some shit like that, to combo with the Void Caller, it's insane. It can be the best card in Arena, right? Like, it's a 4 mana, 3-4, with Death Rattle summon a 6-6. That would be the Dread Infernal being summoned. Insane. And since we are this early in the game, I'm actually going to pick it. Also, it's important to note that the Warlock does not have an incredible amount of 4-drops that you really want. It's not like the Paladin where almost everything you want is on 4. I'm gonna take the Hellfire because I rarely pick up board clear and often regret it. So there's a Hellfire, Flame Imp is amazing. It's a 1 mana 3-2. I don't care about paying 3 health for it. It's a 1 mana 3-2. All of these are bad. I'm gonna pick Nightblade because I don't have anything in the 4 slot yet. Sorry, in the 5 slot. Okay. Now, anyone who started watching me recently, thanks to Trollden's Spotlight video, Funny and Lucky Moments, will know that I fucking hate this card. I'm really not super salty about the Power Overwhelming, but 6 of them? Anyhow, Power Overwhelming is actually the best in this pack. Argent Squire, too often when you have a hero ability that doesn't deal 1 damage, so if you're not a rogue, a druid, or a mage, too often it just dies to like a 2-3, or gets hit by a hero ability and a 3-2, so it gets wasted pretty easily. Succubus, really? Look at those stats! The only problem is, with those stats, it dies to most other 2-drops in the game. Because as I said, you want 2-drops, most often, that have 3 as their attack stat, because they can kill anything with 3 health, which is usually trading very high up. Discarding a random card, that means that basically I 2-for-1 myself when I play the Succubus. So I'm going to take the Power Overwhelming, which is just a really, really good card for trading up. So say I've got like a shitty minion, like in the late game, a Flame Imp, right? And then my opponent plays fucking 7 health. You know what? Let's just give him a Stormwind champion. I can power overwhelming a Flame Imp and kill it. Now that is 2 for 1ing myself, but it's trading so far up against itself that it's actually worthwhile. Whereas the Succubus, which 2 for 1s itself, is trading down from its own value. Flame Imp is the best in that pack. Hopefully I don't really have to explain that one. Faceless Manip, or Big Game Hunter. So Faceless Manipulator is if you or your opponent have a really big card, you can swing the tide of the game. The Big Game Hunter is if your opponent has a really big card, you can swing the tide of the game. So therefore, the Faceless Manipulator is less situational and is going to be the card that we want to go with. Demon Fire is actually better than both of these because we have 2 Flame Imps and a Void Caller. So it's got versatility in this fashion, right? It's 2 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion, or 2 mana, give +2/+2 to a demon. So it's actually really worthwhile. Especially up against those 2 cards that are really useless. Dark Iron Dwarf is amazing, so it is better than the rest of them. Demon Fire is pretty good, but it was up against 2 useless cards, like a Mogoshan Warden and an Elven Archer. Raging Worgen is interesting, especially with stuff like Power of Whelming and Shattered Sun Cleric to buff it. But honestly, I really don't want to have to hang all of my hopes and dreams on synergy that I might not get. So there's a Dark Iron Dwarf, there's a Void Caller. I'm not even going to explain the Void Caller pick. I did say that I wanted more thingies. Oh, I don't like this. Okay. Reckless Rocketeer. Too expensive for doing 5 damage. Frostwolf Grunt. If your opponent plays a 2/3, you lose. Which of them is less bad? I'm gonna pick the Frostwolf Grunt for one important reason. I have 1-drops, right? And I have fairly high possibility of casting a 1-drop, so I might want to use that to block my opponent's 3/2 from killing my 1-drop, but if my opponent plays a 2/3 and then leads into a 3/2, I can just trade with the Flame Imp, right? The Reckless Rocketeer is far too expensive in my mind to actually justify the cost of it. I have so many things on 4 that I won't take the Stormwind Knight. I'll take the Razorfen Hunter so that I can actually kind of build my board a little bit. I also can't take the Narubar Weblord because we have Flame Imp, both of which have Battlecry, so they would cost 3, which suddenly makes them useless. Shattered Sun Cleric, which again is Battlecry. Dark Iron Dwarf, which again is Battlecry. Are you seeing a pattern here? Faceless Manipulator, which again is Battlecry, and Nightblade, which is again Battlecry. So it's anti-synergistic for me to pick that up. Unstable Ghoul is also anti-synergistic? Not really, but at the same rate, it's not as good as Direwolf Alpha, allowing me to trade up. Demon Fire or Worgen Infiltrator? You know what? I think that the Worgen Infiltrator is going to be better just so that I can kind of secure myself the early curve. With a Worgen Infiltrator, 2 Flame Imps, and then a Knife Juggler. Basically, my early game is tied up to the point that I should always be able to curve from a 1 into a 2. Now I need to make sure that I curve into a 3. So do I pick a Flesh-Eating Ghoul, or do I pick a Silverhand Knight, which is a better card, and then hope to get better 3s later? Considering I have so many 1-drops, I think I'm actually going to trade most often when I'm playing a 3-drop, so I think the Flesh-Eating Ghoul is actually going to be more valuable than it looks like it would be. Against all of these, Demon Fire is the pick. Because Bluegill Warrior, most often, Bluegill Warrior is 2 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion. That's exactly what Demon Fire does, except Demon Fire has the versatility of being able to buff my Flame Imps or my Void Callers. Actually, should I go for the Priestess of Loon, maybe? I have nothing in the 6-drop slot, so it would kind of give me a little bit of late game. It would give me a bit more versatility in terms of tapping. I mean, it would give me the life to do so. It's just, its stats are so bad for a 6-drop. I can't justify that. Ooh, excellent. So Shadow Flame is a really good board clear, but I picked up Hellfire for the board clear reason. I'm going to take Azure Drake. because it'll buff my Demon Fires if I want to use them for removal. It'll buff my Hellfire if I want to use it for removal. But if I use my Hellfire for removal after playing the Azure Drake, it'll do 4 damage to everything, so it will clear the Azure Drake. The only important thing about it really is that it draws a card when it comes into the battlefield and that it's a 4/4 body. Do I take another Flesh-Eating Ghoul? I'm suddenly not happy with that as a 3-drop, so I'm going to take the Frostwolf Warlord, because I'm most often going to have some pretty good stuff on the board already when a Frostwolf Warlord comes out. I'm going to take Shadow Bolt, because it's really versatile removal. Well, it's not super versatile, it's just... basically, I can play it as a 3-drop, just so that I can sustain my curve. Bolt of Fist Ogre is an amazing 6. I actually cannot pass that up. Amani Berserker as my 2 is worthwhile, just because the rest of them are bad. Ironforge Rifleman? I'm not taking a Core Hound and I don't want a Frostwolf Grunt, so I'll take the one that actually does something when it enters the battlefield, so I guess that's an Ironforge Rifleman. Ogre Magi is most often not useful. Ironbeak for a silence, that's too much on the early. I actually have to take the Ogre Magi just because he's later game. Oh my god, I want that Loot Hoarder. Can I take that Loot Hoarder rather than a Ancient Brewmaster though? I don't think I can justify that. Oh, but I have so many minions on 4. I'll take the Loot Hoarder. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. Archmage, just because it has really solid stats, and the other 2 is shit. I'm getting offered a lot of outright shit. Now this is interesting. Archmage has still pretty good stats. I mean, it's basically a Yeti, right, that costs 2 more mana, has a spell damage and 2 more health. The thing is, I've got a fair bit of spell damage in this deck. I've got an Ogre Magi, I've got a Azure Drake, I've got an Archmage. But I don't really have anything that can capitalize on that. I've got 2 Demon Fires and I've got a Hellfire. Mortal Coil, being able to kill something and draw a card, is a 1-for-1 and then I draw a card, right? So it's a 1 for nothing, basically. It allows me to cycle a card while killing something. It's like using Wrath for 1 to kill something. And you can Mortal Coil becomes good and then amazing if you can increase its range via having spell damage. And I do have 3 cards that give spell damage, so I'll take Mortal Coil. All of these are bad. Abomination, more often than not, is going to hurt me rather than help me. Pint-Sized Summoner. Fuck it. I'm going to take the Pint-Sized Summoner, see if I can curve into my 4s and completely skip my 3s because they're a little weaker than the rest of my deck. Okay, we need to play super aggressive because we didn't really draft much of the late game, although we didn't really get offered much of the late game. I mean, we had a Priestess of Elune, another Archmage, and that's about all of the 6+ cards that we were offered. Unfortunately, our Void Callers didn't super work out for us. A Void Caller into a Void Caller is still amazing. It's a Void Caller 3/4, Death Rattle, summon a 3/4. Fucking insane. But it also takes a card out of your hand. They could summon a Flame Imp as well. I was really hoping for something like a Dread Infernal or a Doomguard or, you know, something outright more valuable. This is an okay deck. We're gonna have to play it very zoo-like. And then we're gonna have to rely on Hellfire to clear the board so we can continue our zoo aggression. I'm gonna guess that this deck goes 5 wins. And I'm gonna guess the problems that we end up running into are if our opponent has Consecrate, Swipe, Lightning Storm, you know, just anything board clear, we are going to S the mighty D in the sky. So we're gonna have to very, very closely watch Swipe in this game. All of these have to go back because I have enough 1-drops that I should be able to rely on getting a Worgen Infiltrator or a Flame Imp. There's the Worgen Infiltrator, and there's my only 2 6-drops. What the fuck is that, video game? My only 2 6-drops. Yeah, sure, I need them right now, apparently. Fuck you. Piece of shit. As long as he doesn't coin out the Mad Bomber, I'm okay. And if he does coin out the Mad Bomber and it doesn't hit my dude, I'm still okay. Alright, that's a Mad Bomber. Or a 2/3. What? Alright. No. That's dumb. So you don't coin to hero power unless you're playing handlock in constructed, basically. Not turn 1. Oh no. No. Okay, so if he leaves this on the board, there's a fairly high chance that we'll be able to draw something, play it, and then life tap, considering the amount of 2-drops we have. Alternatively, if we draw something and can't play it, I'm still going to life tap and hope to draw a 2-drop so that I can play that. Don't kill this with a Wrath. Okay. You think you're funny, don't you? Well, you are. Okay, so I reveal the Worgen Infiltrator from stealth for one very important reason. It doesn't matter at this point. If he is to use his hero ability to clear the Worgen Infiltrator, first off, I have a feeling, right, considering he didn't play anything on turn 1, that he doesn't have anything to play on 1 mana. So he does that, he has to float 1 mana and can't develop anything on the board, so therefore I can play a Ogre Magi unperturbed onto the board. If he plays... yeah, there's nothing I really want him to play. Shapeshift, okay. I'm gonna feel real bad if I lose to this guy.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
So, Demon Fire is pretty damn efficient right now. By the way, the reason I buffed the Ogre Magi is because now Swipe doesn't kill it. He also needs to hero power it, but he's on 5 mana and he's already used the coin, so he can't Swipe plus hero power. He would have to have Starfall. Okay. So I'm trading off because I have a stronger high end and it really doesn't matter if I play strongly on curve as long as he doesn't really have board state. Also, I'm not using the Faceless Manipulator on that because there's no reason to. I have better Faceless Manipulation targets since he's a druid and he has since he has 7 cards in hand, I'm very likely to have better targets for that. So he needs basically an Ancient of Law this turn, otherwise he loses. Sorry, Ancient of War in Taunt mode, not Ancient of Law. And even then, looks like he loses the turn after. Oh my god. Poison Seeds, really? I really don't like that card, but that's a pretty efficient usage of it. Problem is, now there's barely anything he can play that can actually save him. I mean, in the long term. Because I've got the 3 damage coming out from this, I've got 4 damage currently on the board, so he's basically got 2 health right now. This should be straight up the end of this game. I'm not really going to celebrate the end of this game, because I kind of feel like it was given to me. Oh, come on, kitty. Don't be like that. I mean, coining out the hero power, a coin is pretty valuable. It allows you to play off... I mean, that's exactly what the coin is for. It allows you to play off curve for 1 turn and try and seize back the strength that your opponent usually would have, considering they went first. That's like the definition of... that should be lethal, right? So I'm looking at 8 plus... yeah. Bang. Okay. That's literally what the card is for. It's for allowing you to play off curve. You don't play off curve to make a turn that literally gains you 1 armor and loses your opponent 1 life. Because guess what? Armor, life, not that important in the arena meta. Sometimes you can play decks that are about armor and life manipulation in Constructed, right? Like, oh, I want to have really low life so I can cast my Molten Giants, or I want to have really high armor so I can use Shield Slam, you know, that type of stuff, you know, Handlock and Control Warrior respectively. But in Arena, you're not going to draft that type of synergy. And 99 times out of 100, you're not going to draft that synergy. Keeping the Shattered Sun Cleric because it's an amazing 3, and since I have a 1-drop and the coin, I can play a 3-drop as my 2-drop. So I can play off-curve. Or rather, I kind of have a free-form curve, I guess is the way that I should probably explain it. Really interesting is if he plays a 2-3 to counter my Flame Imp, he loses. Uh-huh. Fuck. So this is basically a 1-for-1 trade, except I take 5 damage to the face. Oh my god. He needed to play a 2-3 this turn, not last turn, by the way. So since I had to play on curve, I've kind of... I mean, I have to play on curve because I'm playing... Don't trade! Don't trade! Don't trade! You fuck nugget! You'll pay for that. You piece of shit. Yeah, because I wanted to play on curve so that I can actually... I'll tell you why I laughed in a second. Anyway, because I had to play on curve in the early game because I really wanted to kind of just get my cards out so that I can play this Zoo archetype that I've been... Well, that I kind of flirted with in the draft rather than actually picked up. Because of that, I had to make some trades down, basically. Attack the face. Thank you.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
I think in this game I actually have to play late. I think if I play early in this game, I will lose because he's just had such great drops every turn. Interesting thing, he can kill this, and unless he heals it off the back of that, it dies to... Oh, you fuck!
I am ready to learn.
Oh, I hate you. Play another minion. Don't heal. Don't... Oh, shit. This guy has very good things to counter me. Anyway, when he played oh man, words are difficult. When he played the Senjin Shieldmaster, I was happy because I had the 4/4 that I wanted to coin out that didn't seem like a threat, and then I had the buff for it so that it was a threat. Silence. Not a silence. Silence.
I am ready to learn.
Game over. And he's not going to play another card as well. Yeah, he's going to heal. Heal his face rather than that, really? I know what you're saying. You can clear the board with Hellfire. If I clear this board with Hellfire, he can come back into the game. I need... Shadow Word Death, of course. Just the perfect response for every card, by the way. I need to have much more value out of Hellfire, otherwise I'm just going to lose the game.
I'm ready. I'm not ready.
I need spell damage. Oh, that's not spell damage. That did not work out well. So, I'll just give you the rundown. My opponent had a 2-1 on 1 mana, which countered perfectly my Flame Imp. And then he had a 3-2 on 2 mana, right? Which countered perfectly my Knife Juggler because he put a Power Word Shield on it, right? Which meant that I couldn't develop anything on the next turn. I had to use Shadow Bolt. And he basically got to run away with the game. Nothing I could have done at that point. Unfortunately, because as a priest, he got to keep his minions above 3 health, I couldn't use Hellfire at any point without also using Demon Fire to clear the board. And at that point, if I'm not clearing an incredible amount of really valuable minions, I've already lost. None of those are powerful 3s. Shattered Sun Cleric I may have kept, but I need to fish for a 1. Good work, me. Greetings. Pint-sized Summoner, in theory, dies to the same amount of things that Amani Berserker would. And that's Wrath. Not true. Claw. Doesn't have Claw. Excellent, we're in business. So all I'm looking to do here is accelerate my curve as much as I can so that I can actually play this video game in some fashion. If I can get out Amani Berserker and tap next turn, that's amazing. So he's got a Wild Growth accelerating his curve. I also have something accelerating my curve. We're all just boosting our curves. The issue here is that I can kill that. You know what, I will. It does mean that I have to float mana though, and that's the problem. Also, Swipe is really effective in clearing 2 of these and then moving 1 of them down to 1 mana, and it would be pretty worthwhile to use here. Oh, okay. That's fine by me. Tap. Okay. Now I just have a more aggressive board than I had before, basically. I also have the versatility of using the Mortal Coil on my own Amani Berserker in order to attack something with 5 attack. Or use 5 attack on something, rather. Do I do it on that? No. So I basically just copied myself a Druid of the Claw. That's basically what I just did. Druid of the Claw. It's Druid of the Claw, right? Druid of the Claw is the bear form. Druid of the... something else is the other one. No clue what the other one's called. Okay. So that decides my turn for me, because it means I have to use the Mortal Coil. Is that correct? I could develop the Archmage. That's not. You know what? I'm gonna develop the Flame Imp. And I'll tell you my reasoning behind it. The reasoning behind it is that next turn I have 7 mana. I also have 1 spell damage on the field already. And that Mortal Coil is far more valuable every single time you have another spell damage on the field, right? So next turn, I'm going to have a 2nd spell damage on the field and then Mortal Coil. And Swipe is fine because it kills the Amani Berserker, but the Amani Berserker was only valuable since it was in Swipe range. Okay. So that's basically the worst case scenario that could have happened, and it's still not that bad. So I have pretty efficient removal next turn as well, which would be Archmage and then a Shadow Bolt for 6. So what is he going to play that I'm going to want a Shadow Bolt for 6?
Squire, Attend me.
I can't really see anything in my mind's eye there.
Shields up.
Okay. That's interesting. Hellfire, by the way, kills everything, so I can't do that. So I want to draw the card first, so I'm going to be using Mortal Coil first. And since I'm also using Shadow Bolt, I don't have the versatility of playing the Archmage as well. I don't want the Sun Fury to take the damage from the dagger. Hang on, how much... So if if both of the daggers from Razorfen hit the face, I would win the game. But that's too much to hope for. Right? Instead, I will cast Razorfen now, because it's 2 immediate damage to the face, and it means that Hellfire clears the board next turn. Well, wins the game next turn. Because he would have to clear all of the minions on my board without using his face, so no damage from his face, clear all of the minions on my board, and then develop a threat. And even that would only stop me for 1 turn, because then I can play Archmage and Hellfire on turn 10 for a total of 4 damage direct to the face.
For the Lich King! It's time for a little...
There's nothing with 1 mana that saves him. Whee! I love doing kills like that, where you destroy everything that you've built up the whole time, just to be a little flashy about it. Basically, Hellfire is the only very common way of doing that. There's what? Hellfire. Dread Infernal. These are the only ones I can really think of at the moment. I'm thinking all character damage. Yeah. There's a lot of flashy ways of killing people, but I like the spells that fuck everything at the same time.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall
Demon Fire is good enough to... Shadow Bolt, is that good enough? I think so. I think this is actually a solid curve, because if he plays a 3-2, then I Demon Fire my Flame Imp and I can kill it. But if he plays a 2-3, I can Demon Fire his 2-3 to kill it. And then I can play the Shadow Bolt as turn 3 removal. I actually think this is a really efficient card. Greetings. Greetings!
I
There we go. Jesus. Don't be so rude. Fuck, what's his name again? Gul'dan. Greet your opponent. Of course, there's plays that he could make that would make me pretty sad. What am I thinking about? Probably the biggest sad maker would be Worgen Infiltrator. Maybe. Frostbolt. Coin Frostbolt would be a sad maker as well. Because if he doesn't actually play into it, if he doesn't play minions, I don't really have a response. Would he have coined a Frostbolt? I think he would have. So instead of Demon Firing to get it out of Frostbolt range and move it up to a 5-4, I'll just sit on what it is currently for the moment. Now, it's not so bad that I used my life to... Yeah, fucking hell, Frostbolt, of course. It's not so bad that I had to use my hero... Oh, I should have tapped first just in case I got another Flame Imp. It's fine, though. Anyway, it's not so bad that I use my hero ability on turn 2, since I did make a turn 1 play. So, most often, your turn 1 is wasted, and then your turn 2 is a... well, card, right? So it's basically like I used my hero ability on turn 1. He's gonna cast a spell, otherwise there's no reason to do that, of course. So the reason I'm playing the Void Caller is it looks like it threatens both of the things on the board at the moment. I don't have a... also, he's disincentivized from killing it because... You don't know, man. It could fucking... It could be the most powerful card in the game that I just summon randomly. You don't know. So since he's already used his coin, this is the last turn I can make this play safely. It means that I can't be Flamestruck, and it means I can't be Blizzarded. Also, Cone of Cold actually isn't horrible, because Cone of Cold hits, what? Frostwolf Grunt, and then splits the damage. He can do that all he wants. I've got the Shadow Bolt to respond. Ah, okay. Oh, that's a really good draw for me. So there's this Shadow Bolt to respond there. Iron Forge Rifleman kills that. I attack face. So I'm starting to get to a turn where Cult Master might be valuable. Starting to get very close to a turn like that. Interesting thing to note is that I'm almost certain about this. This is one of the mechanics that I've never actually had to interact with, although it's surprisingly common. I believe... yeah, I'll draw that many cards. Will I? Yeah.
Join or die, or both.
Okay. I believe that when you silence a card, you don't actually remove its card type. So if it's a beast, you don't remove that. If it's a mech, wink, GvG coming out soon, you don't remove that. And if it's a demon, you don't remove that. I'm almost certain about that. Okay, so now I need to just stay alive.
Is this really necessary?
So I will make the removal because otherwise the Flame Strike is actually way too horrible. I do kind of expect to be Flame Struck here. But then he's only got a 2-1 left on the board. And I've got actually a fair amount of really big things that can come out after the Flame Strike. No! Maybe he thinks he needs a more powerful Flame Strike? I don't know what's in his hand, that's a big problem. I'd be happy for him to do that, right? That's the Flame Imp trading for a Dragon Fury. It's fine. Power Overwhelming, looks like I'm gonna have to use for that.
Do you need a blessing?
Fuck! Are you kidding me? That is, like, the one thing. Alright. That goes out, and then my next lowest cost minion goes out. Hit it. No. Next lowest cost minion goes out. Hit it. Thank you. That was essential, because I don't have a taunt, right? Would not be surprised to see Flame Strike. If there isn't a Flame Strike, I should just outright win. Okay. Brilliant. And the outright win comes off the back of the fact that this Frostwolf Warlord is going to be way too big, and he just wasted a polymorph.
They'll never know what.
The frost will stand ready.
Oh man, I was really hoping it would hit this. Okay. I've got to play safe, so we'll trade 2 off. Would he have used the polymorph against a 3-4 without holding another polymorph in hand. He's got to have another hard removal in hand, otherwise you don't make that play, right? One of them is Mirror Entity. One of them is always Mirror Entity.
This one's mine.
Or Duplicate. Okay, Duplicate. So he can bounce... he can bounce them until the day they die. I guess if he's gonna be bouncing stuff anyway... This is probably the least... Not a Mirror Entity. Wow, I am surprised. At this point, I actually think I decrease my chances of winning by life tapping. So it's not Vaporize, it's not Ice Barrier, it's not Mirror Entity, it can't be another Duplicate, obviously, because you already played Duplicate and it's fine. It's gotta be Ice Block or Counterspell or Spellbender, right? Ice Block, Counterspell, or Spellbender. Are those the only 3 made secrets I'm not considering? 2 trigger on hit to the face. Are you fucking kidding me?
Drink with me, friend.
Oh yeah, bounce them back because they cost 0 mana. Smart. That's the only way he was going to be able to get his useful Brewmasters out. Hellfire wins the game. Have I already used Hellfire? I think I may have. Okay. That has to be Counterspell. Might as well test it. That's gonna die soon anyway.
Don't blink.
So I'll use it to trade off. Will I? Do I increase or decrease my chances of winning by trading here? So he trades there, hits. I think he has to trade so badly. Also, I think I actually have the versatility to tap here. Oh, fuck. If I tapped first, I would have won the game. I did have the Hellfire still in my deck. Without Pyroblast... Oh, no. That tap also opened me up to the possibility of Fireball. Yeah.
Well played.
So, is he trying to get me to concede when he doesn't actually have lethal? Or does he actually have lethal? That removed the possibility of it being Pyroblast. But Fireball, it could still be. I think since he's stalling with the well played, he's trying to get me to concede. Maybe he actually does have the Fireball, though. It's the only card that wins the game. Well, Fireball and Reckless Rocketeer. That's it. I will note, actually, even if I didn't tap, he could have done the Fire Blast and the Fireball to the face. He's not targeting my face or any of my minions with it. I'm gonna squelch him so he doesn't just keep well-playing, well-played, well-played, well-played. I actually just want him to reveal the card in his hand and then win or lose. The thing is, it either he's trying to get me to concede, he's trying to make me think that it is Fireball and therefore I preemptively concede, or he doesn't have it, or he does have it and he's trying to BM me and he's just going to wait until the rope is about to burn down and then Fireball to the face. Obviously, you can't concede just in case they don't actually have it. Exactly, you prick. I'm not going to use... Hang on, am I going to use Hellfire? No, I can't use Hellfire. Tap! Well played. Prick. Trying to convince me he had lethal with the well played, well played, well played. Alright, if we win this next match, we'll cut to part 2. What did I say? 5 wins? I believe I said 5 wins. So... The loss that we had. It wasn't a... Like, it was a resounding defeat. It was a convincing loss. But was it something that we can generally expect from other decks? Is it something that we need to be concerned about? Or was it just a freak one-off? I'm gonna say that it was a freak one-off. Because, like, every turn he played the card that would have done it. Shadow Madness, Holy Nova, you know, the Leponome on the first turn, the Acidic Swamp Ooze into the Power Word Shield on the second and third turns. Every single time, it was the card that he needed. So I don't think it's actually something I need to consider as a really big problem. None of those are my strongest one-drops, so I really need to get my Flame Imp. Thank you. I'm glad to see the Mortal Coil, because it means that I don't lose to a Loot Hoarder or a Leponome anymore. Or even some of the less common one-health minions, like Voodoo Doctor or Young Priestess.
Hello.
I greet you.
Is this the same guy that I just versed? No, the guy that I just versed was like Maddie B3121 or something like that. Something daft. Obviously he plays a 3-2, I really can't do anything against it, and I don't have anything to curve into. Anything to curve into. That's a shame. Now it's less of a shame, because I actually have something to play. Next turn, in my mind's eye, appears very likely to be... He develops a minion, I run a 1-1 into it, I use Mortal Coil to finish it off, and I tap. So I end up with 2 cards, and I clear the board.
Many secrets.
Okay, so now I have to run the 3-2 into it instead. Oh, I'm so glad he didn't have Secret. So we're gonna tap first, because it looks like we have to tap anyway. Run that in. Mortal Coil. It's really unfortunate that we don't have a play here. But we do have the card advantage. We now just need to not die, which is becoming vastly more difficult. So now he has 2 targets that he wants to hit with the Fire Blast. That's always good. So I would assume in his position, you Fire Blast the Loot Hoarder, you attack the Boar. You end up with a 3-5. Ooh. Oh, that's unfortunate for you. So Power Overwhelming kills that. Then I'm gonna Cult Master, and I will trade just so that I secure the card. And now I'm gonna get 2 cards from the Loot Hoarder dying. Now, I don't have a strong board state, but I have all of the cards that were ever minted in this game. And I don't mind being hit in the face by the Water Elemental, because I don't have a weapon, so I can't freeze anything anyway. Interesting.
Put this apple on your head. You call that a
So, unless he just has, like, you know, 2 fireballs in hand, we can equalize and we can win. But it's starting to look like he has 2 fireballs in hand, because he is very fucking voracious about going for the face and not trading for board. I have to be very careful. So, that means no life tap, no Hellfire, and trade for the board whenever possible. So therefore, I also want to be playing my strongest minions every turn. Holy shit. Can I clear this board without Hellfire? I don't think I can. I think my only way to clear this board involves using Hellfire. And I think if I use Hellfire, I lose. Alright. I'm gonna play the Pint-Sized Summoner... No, Pint-Sized Summoner first. No. I'm gonna play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul first. I'm going to hope for great... Just, in fact, either of them being hit is great. Fine. Now I can kill that. Then I can't kill that because the Demon Fire doesn't help me.
Almost out of time.
Okay. Okay. So, wait. I kill this first, and then I play the Pint-Sized Summoner, and I hope for the best RNG. Hit this. Didn't. Hit the face. I could have cleared the board there. He's got double Fireball.
Well played.
Well played.
Nothing I really could have done. Without any taunts in the deck. I mean, I've got, what, Frost with Grunt. That's my big... It's my big taunt. At a certain point... Maybe... I think if I'd realized one turn earlier that he was specifically only going for the face and ignoring really good trades, like... He was playing a 4-drop when he could have pinged off a 2-1, so he wasn't playing for value, he was playing for aggression, and he was playing a 5-drop when he could have pinged off a 2-1. Even though I realized he was being uber aggressive a little late, and by the way, the fireballs with 2 left cards in his hand, so he had them whole game. Even though I realized it a little late, there's actually, I don't think, anything I could have done. Do it now, the mage. Fucking hell, man. How many mages do you want to play? Jesus Christ. Jeezy crazy. Ironforge Rifleman is not effective, or not as effective as most other 2 and 3 drops that I could draw. Loot Hoarder is actually pretty good. Demon Fire is really good. It gives me versatility in responding to a 2-3. Loot Hoarder is really good because it makes my opponent have to slow their roll. Right? Do it now! Do it! Come on, do it now. Mulligan 1 card. That doesn't make me too, too pleased. Greetings.
Greet you.
1 drop? 1 drop? No 1 drop. Interesting. Do I trade and play a 2? Yes. Yes, I trade and play a 2. Oh, no!
What you want?
Oh! Now, this is a play that I was actually theorizing about when I drafted the Frostwolf Grunt. That perhaps I play my Flame Imp, my opponent plays a 3-2, and I get to protect my 3-2 investment with a 2-2. The best card for him right now is Shattered Sun Cleric. Shattered Sun Cleric buffs the Fairy Dragon out of range of dying to the Frostwolf Grunt. Ooh. Arcane Missiles? Oh! Wow, that was really unlucky. My apologies, sir. So he's going into turn 4. So I'm going to play the Imani Berserker, because in all likelihood, next turn, I use the Ironforge Rifleman to hit my own Imani Berserker, and then trade the Imani Berserker into a Yeti or a Chillwind... Sorry, a Chillwind Yeti or a Senjin Shieldmaster. Those are the 2 options that I would actively do that play for. Otherwise, I'm just going to play the Ogre Magi on curve. I also could have played the Loot Hoarder, but the problem with playing the Loot Hoarder is... Ooh. Why do all of my opponents have fucking water elementals? The problem with playing the Loot Hoarder is that with 4 mana, rather than 3 mana, he can Fire Blast, and most often he'll have another 2-drop to supplement that, right? Whereas on turn 3, he Fire Blasts and then has 1 mana left. Most often they don't have a 1 mana drop, so he has to float the mana.
I wonder.
Theory, yo. I want to get as many of my minions out as possible as before the Flamestrike turn hits and before the Blizzard turn hits. I had the coin, it's right there. I used the coin, so he cannot coin Blizzard this turn and he cannot coin Flamestrike next turn. Interesting. That's actually worthwhile. So this allows the Amani Berserker to trade up a little bit. Then I trade across there and use the Ironforge Rifleman to remove that. So if he doesn't have Blizzard, he's in for a big hurtin'. Blizzard or Cone of Cold. Maybe Frost Nova if he has Flamestrike next turn. That's got to be Blizzard, right? Center of the hand, kept it for a little while. Yeah, Blizzard. Summon dudes, go for face, win game. This is my plan. So now I'm going to need to start tapping every single turn. And the Azure Drake is now a huge draw for me. If I draw the Azure Drake, I'm in an amazing position. Except for against Flamestrike, I guess. But I kind of, at this point, with this many cards behind, I kind of just have to play as though he doesn't have Flamestrike. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So when I had the Archmage, I was like, I can use the Archmage and I can use the Mortal Coil, but then I don't get to use the Shadow Bolt, which means that I have to leave a 4/4 on the field. I can overwhelm him with value given enough time, because I can tap every turn, right? So I'm getting an extra card. I'm top decking 2 cards per turn, whereas he's only top decking 1. What a scrub bitch. Ooh. Also, I will use the Demon Fire to remove that, because otherwise he can use the Knife Juggler. Oh, look, it's the... damn. The game still thought a Knife Juggler was there. Could use it to hit the Dark Iron Dwarf and then a Fire Blast to remove. I can use slightly inefficient removal as well, since I do get to top deck 2 cards per turn. I just need to deal with his big threats as soon as I can. Ow. Big toe was hurting. Come on, do it now. Do it now. Do it now. What the fuck is that from?
They are bend to my command.
Do it now. Kill me. Is that from Mortal Kombat, the movie? I think it might be from Mortal Kombat, the movie.
Are you ready for this?
So, I can just start setting fires everywhere, and he has to put all of them out. So he can hit here, and then Fire Blast, and then he can use the Scarlet Crusader to clear this. Then he's got a total of 8 mana left over. What wins me the game next turn? A Azure Drake, which draws a Hellfire, wins me the game next turn. As long as he doesn't play a Taunt or heal himself. Alright, now we're in panic mode. I don't have another Mortal Coil, so dealing with that Scarlet Crusader means that I'm basically going to lose value. Uh-oh. There's no reason for me to hold the Flesh-Eaten Ghoul in hand. It looks like the Scarlet Crusader trades for the Flesh-Eaten Ghoul so that it doesn't die to the Worgen Infiltrator for basically free. And now I lose the game. Taunt! Done! GG! Well played! This deck had problems. Azure Drake. Azure Drake. Come on. What have you got in your hand that you're considering playing with 3 mana that you've held onto for 2 turns? Because you top decked the Fen Creeper. Surprisingly, often, the Nightblade is not an Azure Drake. It's well known for that fact. And that is lethal on his side of the board. He has a total of 11 damage considering his hero ability. Damn it! That's the end of that run. Alright. The fuck do I call this deck? See, I still don't think it was as bad as it performed. 3-3. Oh, man. I've been going some really bad runs in Arena recently. 4-3, 3-3, 5-3. God damn it. What do we got? I'm gonna call it the trading post. Why? Because I can. Now let's open this chest. See exactly how much gold we lost. Explosive trap. Thank you. That's excellent. It's not like everyone has 2 of those. Everyone and their goddamn fucking dog has 2 of those. Alright, what's that? What's that? Hey, epic. That's good. Is that my second Sea Giant? I think that might be my second Sea Giant. Now, since we're coming up on GvG, Goblins versus Gnomes, by the way. We are getting to the point that... Oh, Golden Wisp, excellent. We are getting to the point that I'm gonna start not getting any more cards from the original pack, because Arena will start giving you GvG packs, right? And then there's... I'll likely spend all of my gold at the time on GvG packs as well. So if there's cards like Sea Giant, Molten Giant, you know, legendaries as well, specifically Alec here and Harrison Jones are ones I've been looking at recently. If there's cards like that, I'm just never gonna have them unless I, you know, dust a lot of stuff to get them. Ah, sad times, friends. Sad times. But then again, 120 new cards in this game. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Alright, let's get back to the title screen so that I can say that my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Hearthstone Arena. We've been playing a Warlock deck. It went 3-3. It was kind of zoo-y. We did get a lot of our early drops out, but the thing is, a lot of the time, we didn't get a 2 or we didn't get a 3. In the games we lost, specifically, we didn't get 2s or 3s. In the games we won, we did. That might tell you something about the importance of a curve. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourself. Oh, by the way, the name of the episode has been Trading Post. You'll be able to see, like, you clicked on the title. You know the name of the episode. If you've liked the episode, please click like. It does help me get my content out to new people. There's also playlists down in the description below if you're interested in watching more Hearthstone Arena, Nax Ramus, or ranked content. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourself, and we'll see you next time.